Hey everyone, happy Mother's Day. This is a super fast video today for you to help prevent some food waste from when you're buying some of your items in bulk. Let's get into it. Vegan prepper. Vegan prepper. Right, so if you are anything like me, you like to purchase in bulk to save money for your family. But one of the kind of idiosyncrasies of buying larger packages of food like this is oftentimes there is something on the back that says use within 7 days of opening. And so even if the expiration date is 2 or 3 years out, the second you open it, you're dipping a spoon in, you're introducing bacteria into the food item. Now you're down to maybe 7 days of use. And so it is possible that you can end up wasting some of the stuff you tried to save money, but if you end up throwing half of it out, that's not saving money. So one of the things that I like to do when I open a package like this, so for instance, I am making banana bread this morning and I'm gonna open this entire, I think it's a quart, no, it's more than a quart, this entire jar of applesauce for a 1/4 cup of applesauce for my banana bread recipe. And so for things like that, you know, sometimes we can go through one of these in 2 days, and other times it just sort of languishes in the fridge and nobody eats it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take it and freeze it immediately. Just pour it into jars and freeze it as soon as I'm finished with my recipe. And then that way I can prevent any kind of waste, throwing anything out, and it works out really well. This is something that I also do with hummus. And I can do it with broths. Like if I have a jar of, like a thing of vegetable broth, say I was doing sauteing of vegetables, I wasn't using it like as part of a soup or, you know, putting it in rice or whatever. And then I can freeze jars of broth as well if the broth is getting towards the end. So anyway, it's just something that I do to try to prevent waste. These are definitely not the only things that you can do that with, but in my house, it's mainly applesauce and hummus are the things that go in my freezer in little jars to prevent waste. But let me go ahead and get my recipe done, and then I will come back and show you the jars and kind of talk about some of the little details of that process. Okay, banana bread is in the oven, and now my applesauce is all jarred up and ready to go into the freezer. So I got 2 jars this size, 8 ounce, another 8 ounce jar that's the regular mouth, and then a pint-sized jar, wide mouth. So let me talk to you briefly about why I choose these kinds of jars. And so I choose all jars with straight sides because when I was originally reading about freezing, for, you know, freezing things like this or freezing in mason jars, the articles that I had read, a couple of them were saying that it's really nice, or you end up having less breakage when you freeze in the straight side jars. And the reason is, so if you have a jar, say like this, which has the curved side, that as the food expands in the freezer, it can move from kind of a wider spot to a more narrow spot. And that can put undue pressure, you know, on this part of the jar. And then you end up having some cracks. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. I don't have any experience with that because, like I said, like way back when I originally read about freezing in jars, that's what I read. So I've never frozen in a jar like this. What they did say was if you have only jars like this, to treat the widest part of the jar as basically the spot where you're giving your headspace from. So rather than headspace from here, do headspace from here. So if this is all you have, you could freeze, you know, like up to here. And then if it expands, it'll expand on a straight part of the jar. And then you should still not be risking breakage. Now you may have frozen plenty of things in curvy jars like that. And if so, please let us know in the comments down below that that is not a necessary step to take, but I'm just passing on what I originally read. And so that's just what I do because I try to listen, like when I read things to people who are more experienced than I am. So I can't remember who it was. Like I said, it's been a really long time, but the woman was saying that once she started freezing only in her straight side jars, she stopped having breakage. So there you go. I like to leave at least a 1/2 inch at the very least. More like an inch is ideal, but I got down to the end of my jar of applesauce and it just wasn't even close to enough to fill another jar. So I did like another dollop on top, and so I'm kind of pushing it a little bit. So what I'm doing is I have my lid and I have my lid on very loosely so that if we get some expansion, it'll like move the lid and hopefully I will be okay. But anyway, this size is ideal for one of my guys to take in a lunch. Yes, they will eat that whole thing. And then obviously I have some on hand for if I do another recipe or something. And these sizes are great. Although these are easier to eat out of, this size is great because it kind of thaws out faster because it's like thinner, or at least it seems like it does. I don't know if that's true or not, but in my head, it's like it really is like, it seems like it does. So I have ones in this size for like when I want to get it and have it thaw out relatively quickly. But yeah, so when you're ready to use it, you just sort of take it and put it in your fridge. Overnight usually is ideal. Although I will admit I have left it on my counter to try to thaw it, and then you just, you know, it's a really small amount. You just like use it right away. So I don't know. Food safety people will be like, don't do that. But I don't know. It's frozen for a really long time, even on the counter. So anyway, but yeah, that's just kind of the little tip that I have for preventing food waste. And again, happy Mother's Day. I try not to do things like that because I don't like to date the videos. If you're watching this in like July, you're like, it's not Mother's Day, but I just wanted to say happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, to those celebrating, to those who are mourning the loss of moms. It's still me. I think this is my second Mother's Day without my mom. And so I'm making banana bread towards the end of her life. This banana bread recipe was one of the things that she really loved to eat. And so I'm making it for my boys, and also just kind of as a little subtle reminder, a little subtle honor to my mom on Mother's Day. So just my heart goes out to all of you who are in similar situations, and then also to those of you who are longing to be mothers and are not mothers yet, and just the whole spectrum of everyone. We just wish you a very happy Mother's Day. And as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. If you're like me, you like to purchase in bulk.